Stay tuned and let's take a look at this Marvel Legends, Marvel's Knights, -1 Build-A-Figure Wave, Luke Cage, Power Man. Pow, and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who, and remember now you can hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we are taking a look at the Marvel Legends, Marvel's Knights, -1 Build-A-Figure Wave, Luke Cage, Power Man. And sweet Christmas, is this costume design overdue in the Marvel Legends line? The last couple of Luke Cages we've gotten are actually been a part of box sets. Let's take you back to 2018's Defenders box set, which was an Amazon exclusive. Before that, it was 2013 Thunderbolts box set, which was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. And the last time we have gotten this Power Man costume design was 17 years ago in the 2006 Mojo Build-A-Figure Wave in the Toy Biz days. So technically, Hasbro have never gave us a classic looking Power Man until now. It has been a 17-year wait since we have last gotten a single packed Luke Cage in the Marvel Legends line, which is insane. But the wait is over. He is here now. So a lot of people are going to be very happy at the opportunity to add this guy to their collection. You will need him to complete the -1, as there is a Build-A-Figure piece in the box. He also has a set of interchangeable hands. You get the Luke Cage logo up top, which is just the Alan C, a comic book image on either side, that same image on the back of the box, as well as a write-up that reads, having accidentally gained superhuman strength from bulletproof skin from a science experiment, Luke Cage becomes a hero for hire known as Power Man. And to complete the -1 Build-A-Figure, you will need to buy 6 of the 7 figures in this wave. Today we're reviewing Power Man Luke Cage. So as I said, we've waited long enough. The wait is over. Let's get him open. Here we have Luke Cage out of the packaging with all of his accessories, which is just unfortunately a set of interchangeable hands, as this is a Build-A-Figure piece for the -1. So you know what to do, subscribe and come back, as once we have looked at all the figures in this wave, we will build and review the -1. Today we are focusing on Luke Cage, which was revealed to us back in February, which left us all speculating how it would end up getting released. A lot of us would have liked to have seen a 2-pack with a new updated Iron Fist to create like a nice updated Heroes for Hire 2-pack, but I did genuinely guess we would end up getting Luke Cage single packed, as it has been so long since we have gotten that opportunity, and we have never gotten this costume in the Marvel Legends Hasbro line. Now all my Toy Biz figures are gone, so I cannot do a straight up comparison with that old Toy Biz figure, so I'm happy to add this version to my collection, and it is a completely pinless Marvel Legend as well. So let me get the tape measure out to see how he stands, and I think it should be over 6.5, and yes, it is. It's about 6 3/4 inches, so he will stand taller than your average Marvel Legend, as Luke Cage should. But I do think people will have their nitpicks with this figure, as Luke Cage is a lot of people's favourites, and they have sacrificed articulation for aesthetics here. I'll show you what I mean, but let's zoom in and check out the head sculpt first. I think they've done a good job with the head sculpt here. A nice strong neutral expression with the brown eyes, the afro, and then the tiara is actually a separate plastic piece which sits in a nice gap they've created around the head. Now out of the box mine was a little bit crooked, which had me worried, but you can just slide it back more central as well. So you can see there how they've got that sculpted sort of gap in between the hairline so the tiara can sit. But as I said, that is a separate piece of plastic, so if yours comes out crooked, just slide it back into position. Now it has got a nice texture on the hair as well, and there's an okay range considering it is on a disc and hinge rather than a dumbbell joint, so we can bury the chin and look up, but it is hindered by the collar of the jacket, but you do get your swivel there as well. Now I do like the neutral expression, I really do, but I do think a character like Luke Cage is worthy of a different head sculpt with a different expression, just to give us options for posing and play and display, of course. So yeah, I would have liked an option here, but I'm not mad at the neutral expression for Luke Cage. Now unfortunately, this is where the controversy will begin. As I mentioned earlier, they have sacrificed articulation for aesthetics here. Now Now, looking at this straight on, there is no doubt it looks like a very solid representation of the character Power Man from Marvel Comics. But it is an action figure. A lot of people do pose and display their figures, and the lack of ab articulation here is definitely going to frustrate a lot of people in the community, and rightly so. It is definitely a point of conversation. So you'll notice here there is no crunch on the chest. There is nothing at all. You have this separate yellow overlay. You can see you can get his pecs out, but this jacket is an overlay on top of a torso, which is basically one solid piece. All the articulation is down here at the waist. So there is a swivel here, as you would expect, at the waist. So there's a swivel, but it's also on it's like a ball joint. So there's basically a little bit of wiggle room, so you can get a nice tilt, and then the crunch is very limited. So that's how much forward you can get, and that's how much back you can get. So about that much, which will frustrate a lot of people undoubtedly. And also he has smelly armpits, as if you lift up both of the arms, you'll notice there's a big gap underneath both the arms. Now, of course, they've left that gap so it doesn't hinder the range of the shoulder, I understand, but when you start posing them up, it is quite noticeable there's big gaps under the arms. So otherwise though, the arms are pinless, double jointed, nice big puffy arms with the sort of wrist pieces down here as well. The shoulders will go past 90, there's a bicep swivel, and there's a decent double elbow as well, considering they are big puffy arms. But as I said, the real point of frustration on this figure is going to be the lack of crunch here at the chest. There is no torso crunch, it is just all at the waist. Also at the waist you get this chain bout, which is a separate piece. Of course, it doesn't disattach, doesn't come off, that is just on there, but it doesn't hinder the articulation in any way, and it is an accurate element to the costume design as well, and that is done in a chrome that matches the tiara and the cuffed pieces. The legs are all black with some nice creases in. They are pinless as well, so if I zoom out a little bit we can see if we can get the double joint. There you go, double joint. He can sort of kick his lower back. Now it looks like there should be a boot cut, right? I assumed there was, but I can't get it to move. So unless my hands are just sweaty under these lights, I really cannot get that to move. So I actually don't think there is a boot cut there. It looks like there should be. There's a nice natural position where there should be a boot cut, but it's not working. So there's a thigh cut up top, but no boot cut. You have got ankle pivot and rocker though, of course. So the legs will go that far forward, that far out, and not so much out at all. So yeah, if you're going to have this guy standing on the shelf, no doubts at all, it looks like a very solid character accurate representation of Power Man. Like, I'm happy with it. But if you're someone that likes to pose and play and take pictures of your figures, you will find this very limiting and frustrating. So I do think this figure is going to divide the community for sure. Let me know what you think in the comments. In regards to accessories, of course, he is Power Man, so we need some fisted hands to punch some people. So that's exactly what we get straight out the box. But we also get a pair of more expressive grabby hands as well, to give you a couple of posing options. Now, while we're zoomed in again, I still don't understand why they couldn't have gave us an ab crunch here and even give us a butterfly joint, which would have been hidden nicely by the jacket overlay. Now, of course, it might have hindered it a little bit, but it still would have allowed for more range with the arms going forward, and also the crunch. Like, they could have gave us a crunch as well as this ball joint, right? I don't make action figures, I don't know how these things work, but I would have assumed that is possible. So I'm interested to know why they didn't make that creative choice. But overall, just aesthetically, for me, does it look like a nice, accurate version of Power Man? Yes, absolutely it does. The colours are going to pop on a display. It's a much needed update. It is a completely pinless figure as well. So overall, I am very happy with this. And to be honest, it just makes me want a new updated Iron Fist to accompany him on the shelf. Moving into comparisons, as I said at the start of the video, I no longer have that Toy Biz version of Power Man from the Mojo Build-A-Figure wave. If I can find a nice picture online, I'll throw up a side-by-side right now, but I still think it would be unanimous that people think this Marvel Legends Hasbro version is better than the Toy Biz version, even without those points of articulation we've been talking about. I still think more accessories would have made this figure a lot better as well. But anyway, let's get into some Hasbro comparisons. Here we have the last Luke Cage we have gotten that was in the Defenders box set, which was an Amazon exclusive in 2018. So you can see he's actually just a little bit taller than Power Man here as well. So how do you feel about that? Should your sort of Power Man be as tall as your modern Luke Cage? But this is essentially classic look, modern look, and I'm happy to have both in the collection for sure. And as I said, this new one is completely pinless and it is a better figure in general. But this guy can crunch. Are you jealous? Now, I think this head swap is irrelevant and ridiculous, but there would have been someone in the comments that would have asked for it. So here you go. Here is your classic and modern Luke Cage head swapped, and as you can see, proportionately, they are all wrong, and also in regards to the comics, it just doesn't make sense. And here we have a potential heroes for hire with Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Now, both of these Iron Fists are a little bit more modernized to match up perfectly with this Power Man costume design. I still think we need an updated Iron Fist that has the big thick collar, which I do think we will get if we're patient, but for the time being, this is what you've got to deal with. There is also a version of Iron Fist in the white variant, but they're all on the Pizza Spider-Man body, which is a little bit gangly and outdated now over time, but this will have to do for the time being. So yes, Hasbro, if you're watching, let's get an updated Iron Fist with a big thick collar, please. Nice and pinless, lots of hands and accessories. Thank you very much. For our female comparison, of course, I had to bring in Jessica Jones, who he ends up having a kid with in the comics. So this is her in her dual outfit from that Defenders box set. And then of course we have the most infamous googly eyes Misty Knights, which potentially has one of the worst paint jobs on any Marvel Legend face of the Hasbro era. Poor Misty Knight. So yeah, updated versions of both of these would be great too. Here we have some more street level heroes with Daredevil and Spider-Man, both on the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man body, and both look great, even with Luke Cage here. Here we have War Machine, Colonel James Rhodes, and Black Panther, of course, on the Vulcan body, just for a quick comparison. Now let me bring him out of the way and bring back in Blade, who I've already reviewed on the channel, who is also a part of this Marvel Knights Build-A-Figure wave. Now a lot of people in that review were asking for a head swap with this Rhodey head swap. It doesn't work, and I'm going to show you. Big head syndrome. Proportionally, it just does not work. I can see where people were coming from, as he has the same sort of flat top hair, but the head is smaller. The skin tone is darker on Blade as well, and yeah, it just doesn't work, unfortunately. Maybe you can get away with that if you pose him up just right, but no, proportionally does not work. So there's a quick follow-up. Back to Luke Cage. Here we have the 20th anniversary Iron Man and Captain America. Here we have a couple of females with Elektra and the brand new Black Widow. For some street level bad guys, here we have Tombstone and Jigsaw. And just to see how he looks compared to some bigger characters, here we have the Hulk and Thor. And let's wrap up with some of the Who crew. Here we have Frogman, Tigra, and Jocasta, who is reading out comments from the last Marvel Legends review. So make sure you leave a comment on this video, and she may pick you to read on the next one. Who have you picked today?
RCQ Guide Kilometers says, the double-bladed boomerangs are called glaives. Excellent review, Dan. Thanks.
And then last but never least, here we have Captain Britain and Hell, Fire, Hank. Final thoughts on this Marvel Legends, Marvel Knights Mindless one, Build-A-Figure wave, Luke Cage, Power Man. Now I think this is a great looking Power Man, a solid representation of that classic looking Luke Cage for your modern collection. Definitely a better version than anything Toy Biz gave us back in the day. It has been 17 years since you've even had the option to buy a single packed Luke Cage, so that is definitely a positive. The negatives for me are the lack of accessories. I still think an interchangeable head just to give us a few posing options would be good, but I think the biggest thing that will let people down is the lack of articulation on the ab crunch. There's no ab crunch, there's no articulation on the torso. That will frustrate some people, as there's lots of different types of collectors, and it depends what bracket you fall in, depends on how much you will enjoy this figure. For me, it's all about world building. Does the character look like my mind's eye of the character? Is it a representation? Is it an accurate representation? For me, it is. But if you're on the other side where you collect to pose and play and display and take pictures, then this will frustrate you. It is a completely pinless Marvel Legend though as well, so that's a positive. So there are pros and cons, but it's not all bad and it's not all good. There is definitely somewhere in between, and everyone can make up their own opinion. There is no right or wrong answer. You let me know what you think in the comments below and have a healthy conversation. And if you like Marvel Legends, then wow, you're in the right place. Check out the videos tab on the playlist, but most importantly, please hit that subscribe button, hit all in the notification bell, don't miss out on a video, and please hit that join button, become a channel member, either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Which figure from this Mindless one Build-A-Figure wave should I review next? Let me know in the comments. You can follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. I'm on Twitter at Dan Who Reviews, and I will of course see you on the next one.